Young Adult Podcast.
Okay, oh, you don't know what we're talking about.
It's okay.
It's okay, you'll figure it out.
Yeah, let's
I
go.
got a whole bunch of notes here, dude. Don't
Okay, maybe we are ready for this.
You like my notes?
You came ready.
You like my notes?
Yeah.
I like my notes. This is typical, though.
How much time it took for you, for you
To come up with all these notes? Why don't we just... That's it. That's the start. Welcome to podcast.
Yeah, it's been rolling.
I know, exactly. We're roll with it. So, yes, this is real and raw and ready to go.
Oh, yeah.
We got a wonderful guest on the podcast today.
We do.
And he's laughing at us because... I'll show you the notes. Here you go. Right for the camera to see. Here's our notes for the podcast today. Yes, we will get 30 minutes of impactful...
impactful information.
Maybe 10 or 15 minutes.
But let's take a moment and introduce ourselves. Of course, this is the Cornerstone Youth and Young Adults Podcast.
That's right.
I'm the executive pastor here at Cornerstone Church, but I also do Young Adults Ministry.
Mm-hmm. I'm Pastor Aaron. Yeah, I'm the youth pastor, work mostly with the youth, and also a little bit, I serve with the young adults, but it's not what I'm paid to do. I do that because I love it. And then we got a guest on today. We've had 2 guests in the past 2 weeks because you were on vacation last week. But this guest comes from a little bit farther away.
Very far.
than Preston, who works in the same offices as we do. This is Vinicius Tristan Santos. Did I say it right?
Very good.
Really?
Very
Yes. I've been practicing that.
Yeah. I like that.
But what do we call you? Vinny?
Vinny, yeah.
That's what I've always called you.
Yeah, because it was easier. Vinicius is my name.
Do people in Brazil call you Vinny or Vinicius?
Both.
Okay.
Both. For those, like my family, they call me Vinny. And people who don't know me, Vinicius.
So why don't you just quickly introduce yourself a little bit more than your name? Like maybe, obviously, maybe where you're from, what you do.
Yeah. Okay. First of all, thanks for having me here.
Yeah.
It's good to be here with you guys. I'm Vinicius Tristão Santos, as Aaron said. I'm here from Brazil. I'm 30 years old, and I've been here in Michigan. I had been here 9 years ago, right?
Yeah.
9 years ago I was here for the IMA, and now I'm back. I'm almost a pastor at my church. Maybe this year something will change. I don't know. No one's telling me anything.
So it turns out churches all over the world are exactly the same.
Yeah, I think so. They're always pushing me and giving me stuff to do, and one day I will wake up and say, "Now you're a pastor," and I say, "Praise the Lord, here am I." But I'm always there to help and to. Actually right now I'm working with young adults there, and I have been working since three years now with the young adults. Yeah.
So you mentioned that you were here 9 years ago.
Yeah.
And that would have been 2012.
2016.
2016. Thank you. Math is hard.
You're fine.
So 2016, you're here in 2016. And why don't you tell everybody how you came to this church in Highland, Michigan? How in the world did you get here? Because there is a reason you ended up here.
Yeah.
But I would say most people are interested or curious. How in the world would this guy get from?
It is a big country. U.S. is a big, huge country. I've been traveling since the first day that I came here. It's a huge, huge country, like Brazil. Brazil is a big country. But the thing that connected me with this place was Debbie and Ben. They were both pastoring here, right?
Mm-hmm. So they're not on staff here anymore.
Yeah.
So if you don't know who that is, we hired Ben Block in 2012.
Okay, yeah.
and his wife was Brazilian. Is
Yeah.
Brazilian. I don't know if what
Yeah,
you say.
she is. She doesn't speak like Portuguese. She grew up, I think, here and in Brazil. You're caught in the middle because her family is from U.S. and her. I think her mother. She was in my church preaching, and one day we were like eating pizza. And me and my father, we were talking about this dream that I had about coming to U.S. and study and learn something different, a different culture. And she was there and she said, I have a place, so you can go.
Huh.
Yeah.
So this is kind of how
Yeah.
it...
Yeah.
So you were introduced to our internship program here from Debbie's mom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And like... Easy like that. She was talking about this, and she said, "Vinnie, I will put in touch you and Ben. You guys can you can talk to him, and he will explain everything." And since that, I started to talk with him, and other things like started to work. I never saw something work so fast in my life.
It's America for you.
Yeah, it's a miracle. And
America.
In America.
No, America just works fast is what I'm trying to say.
Oh,
We're
yeah?
trying to make a cultural joke that's just...
In America, things work fast.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it's okay.
But that was a slow-moving joke.
Yeah, for me, because I'm Brazilian and you're Americans,
Yeah.
and I don't get jokes as
Humor
fast as you.
doesn't translate. I've always learned. It doesn't.
What?
Well, humor doesn't translate.
Doesn't.
And humor is cultural.
Yeah, I
So-
mean, we have some like things some things I can laugh. Like I can watch some guys making jokes here in U.S. and I can laugh, but it's not the same.
It's not the same.
It's not the same.
It's not the same. All right, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, but yeah, things started to work fast.
Things started moving fast.
Really fast. And then, if I can be honest, I don't remember a lot of the things going on, but I remember being here.
Yeah.
I remember the flight. I was with a lady by my side, and I was nervous. And she was also Brazilian, and I was nervous talking about the what's going to happen here. And she said, "No, you're fine. You're gonna be fine." And I said, "I don't think so, lady." My hands started sweat because my English wasn't like good. I mean, I still have to work on some things, but my English wasn't that good. And I was like, that was the first thing for me, because, come on, I don't have the first thing, which is communication, communicating the language. If I don't have this, I don't have. What do I have?
Huh.
I don't know sign language too. I don't know anything. But I had charisma, right?
You got good looks. Super awesome teeth, as a matter of fact. White, straight teeth.
Yeah, thanks.
Right.
Yeah, that got you a long way. I'll tell you that. That smile.
I can tell you one thing, like, people go to Brazil to get treatment in their teeth because it's, like, cheaper. They
Really?
Yeah, from U.S. to Brazil.
Okay. So you're flying over, and little did you know, though, this is interesting about the year that you came and did the internship program, because you were not the only international student that year in our internship
I think
program.
after that.
You and we had Josiah.
Josiah.
Oh, yeah, Josiah.
Who's
yeah,
from
Josiah.
Canada.
Canada, yeah.
He
yeah,
was
Josiah.
British Columbia, Canada.
Edmonton, Alberta.
Alberta,
Oh,
yeah.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was west side of Canada.
Yeah, I only remember that because he was a huge Oilers fan, and we would always argue
Yeah.
about the Oilers and the Red Wings.
So you that year, 2016, you're coming up all the way from Brazil.
Yeah.
Josiah, which nobody knows who that is when I say his name, but he came all the way over from the west side of Canada.
Yeah.
You also, Pastor Aaron, were entering your second year
Yeah.
of the internship program.
That's right.
Here at the church, and that's how you two became great friends.
Yeah.
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 He was there. He was the first face I saw in like Michigan.
Uh-huh.
He was there to pick me up with Pastor Ben, and I saw his face and I said, "Okay, now I'm safe. Someone knows me.
Uh-huh.
Let's get in the car." And and then things started to move. But the first 2 weeks it wasn't that good because of the language. The first thing that it happens to me right here, I got it in the church. I came here and they opened the door, like a bunch of teenagers sitting right there, like on the floor. And I thought, like, maybe I can understand a little bit of English. When they started to talk, I don't understand at all. I can't understand anything they're saying. Oh my gosh. And I started to feel like, I'm not going to cry right now.
Oh no.
I'm not going to cry. Come on, Vinnie, come on.
Man.
I was 21 years old. You don't cry right now. But I started to feel like, oh my gosh, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
Right? But with the days started to happen, and things started to happen, and then God, with His mercy and,
Yeah.
and grace, I survived.
So, I mean, by the time the internship program your year is coming to an end, would you say that you were thriving? Would you say that you were still kind of trying to survive America and the cultural differences and the language barrier? Or would you say that it was just going really well, you were having fun, you were...
By the end of
Yeah.
well, by the end, I never thought about this because for me, all that time, I was so focused in at the beginning survive. I don't know if I ever lost that surviving mode because this isn't my home.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And even though I was here living every day, it wasn't my home and wasn't my family there. You guys always supported everything, and all the support, it was awesome. But I think even by the end, I wasn't like feeling, oh, now I can relax.
Sure. Because you were only here for 10 months.
I was here for
No,
5 months.
For 5 months.
Really?
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That you
for
did
5.
wow, see?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I tried to come back, but it wasn't that easy. Things didn't happen that fast.
Okay.
The second time I tried to, but yeah.
So,
Yeah.
did it feel like with Debbie being here, because she speaks Portuguese,
Oh, she didn't help me at all.
she didn't
with
help you at all?
Portuguese. No. She kind of like, you go, kid.
Okay.
Fine. You do your way.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
No.
That surprises me.
Yeah, the only thing I'm saying that she was so kind with me, but by doing that, she was kind because she was pushing me. She knew like, Vinnie, you can do this. The only thing I knew she used Portuguese is because you have to, for IMA, you have to contact someone from Brazil to like talk about me. I don't think I have to sign
For a reference.
for
right?
a reference. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's the only thing, the only time that she spoke Portuguese with me is about I gave her, because you cannot give parents or a family member. So I gave it's a friend of mine in Brazil, and I gave her number, so she had to speak Portuguese with her. And that's it. She never spoke Portuguese, and I didn't have Google Translator.
It didn't exist.
No, I didn't use.
Oh.
I didn't use. I was like, no, I have to do this. I have to
Okay.
survive. I have to, because it's always like, I was trying to push myself also, not trying to find something to hang on, because I know a lot of Brazilians who live in U.S. after 16 years living in this country, they still don't speak English.
Wow.
Yeah, I was in a guy's house. He's Brazilian, and his daughter is like, I think 12 years old, and he was ordering pizza, And I say, what did you say? And he ordered like the wrong pizza. And I say, man, after 16 years, how many pizzas did you eat? Like, I don't want this pizza, but I order. It's wrong, but it is what it is. He said, no, come on. You have to learn the language.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you can always find something to back you up, and that's not good.
Yeah. Well, now one of the things that you did back in Brazil is you actually taught English for a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And so you obviously got pretty good at English being here for 5 months. That worked.
Yeah,
you did a good job.
That was my first hard push that I had. But after Michigan, after my time here, I say the best way to learn is when you teach.
That's
because
true.
if you want to teach something,
Yes.
you have to also be the best learner.
Well, you got to learn it first before you teach it. You got to sit down and study what you're about to teach.
So I was sitting down, studying every single day, reading, because I still have my Bible. Sorry. The Bible that you guys gave it to me, the gray one. Great Bible. Amazing Bible. I love that Bible. I still have it. And I was my devotional every single day, reading my Bible and praying. And this was this is the first tip that I give for Christians who wants to learn English. You read your Bible and you pray. And they say, I don't know how to pray because I don't know English. And I say, my prayer during the first 4 weeks here was, I love you, Jesus.
Aww.
That was all. Because I couldn't say anything else. The words, they didn't come in my mind. And I say, I want to pray in English, but the words, it don't come to my mind. Okay, I will say, I love you, Jesus. And I pray that for like 4 weeks straight. Every single day in Jeff's house, I woke up and I was there and saying, I love you, Jesus. I love you, Jesus. I love you, Jesus. And then I read my Bible and started the day. And I say, okay, let's do it.
So did you enjoy the internship program here?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. I mean, by far, one of the best memories that I have is from this place. This place. And these guys were here.
Yeah, so you guys became friends during that time.
Oh, yeah.
And you guys are still friends today. You talk a lot with each other, even on the phone still today, right?
Yeah, we FaceTime.
But it's been 9 years since you've seen each other in person.
Yeah. The first time we saw each other in 9 years was in the Culver's parking lot earlier.
That's cool.
Yeah. And when I saw him, like, oh my gosh, is that real? Are you real? And I felt like it is so great to me because I have a lot of memories here. I have a lot of.
What share a good internship memory.
I have a lot of them, but I can share. If I go to since the beginning of the internship, you guys gave us a journal, and I still have this journal, of course, because after that, I journal my days every single day. I take notes, and I have this. This is one of the things that the IMA helped me to build. I write down, and right now I'm writing a book. Also, it started with this idea of every single day. But one of the first days we went to camping, right?
Yeah, we went to Oscoda.
Yeah, this is, I mean, and it
Is
was
this a shock as a Brazilian?
Yeah,
Okay.
It was shock for me.
Okay.
The other thing was shock for me because we I think we stayed for like 2 days, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't take a shower. That was shocking. Because in Brazil we shower every day, maybe twice or 3 times a day because it's too hot and exercise and things like that. But I was like 2 days without showering, and I was, oh my gosh.
You're suffering?
Yeah, I was. I was thinking about jumping in I think it was the lake right there, but it was too freezing, and I said, nah, maybe not.
Was that in September?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first
adventure trip.
We call them adventure trips.
Yeah, adventure trips.
Did you take another adventure trip too in those 5 months, or did you just do one adventure trip?
No, we did one.
Just
Just
one.
one. Yeah.
So you missed out on the winter one.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, more days without showering, right?
It would have been definitely more days without showering, I think. Although I guess it depends on what they do, because some of the adventure trips are actually fairly just fun experiences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually felt bad for that because I think you guys have one that you guys go to New York, right?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes. They kind of change year to year.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I was thinking about, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be here. Come on. I only get the camp. Whoa. But it was fun. It was really, really fun. My first time eating hot dog, like American style. My first time being around guys who share the same idea, has the same heart for God, and it was really, really pleasant moment for me. It was really good. This was one of the first.
Yeah. I remember that was the first time you ever had a s'more, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And after that, I kind of get addicted to. Because every time I got a blowtorch, a blowtorch, right?
Yeah. Blowtorch.
Yeah, blowtorch. And then every time I was like, let's do more. Let's do
like a little.
And then you guys have this joke, let's get some more.
Yeah.
Some more. And I want some more. some more.
It works.
Yeah, it was. And I was telling my friends in Brazil, man, you have to try this. You should try this. And I don't know if I can tell this story, but a girl came to me and she was starting to flirt, and I didn't want to flirt with her. I was just, you have to try s'more. You have to try this. This is so awesome. And she was like, I don't want to talk about this. I want because it's so good. You should try this one day. And then we stopped to talk about it, and she was like, "Oh, she's crazy." Yeah.
That's
it was
funny.
so first time trying s'more.
Yeah. And so, you know what's funny? Because there's a memory I have mainly of you when you were here for those 5 months. And you know what that memory is? That memory is you constantly being cold and constantly wanting to eat at Culver's. That's my biggest memories of you here in our internship program.
Probably yours and most of the people here who knows me. Johanna said the same. I knew it. Culver's was the first place you would you wanted to go. I said, yeah. I mean, me and Josiah, we became really close. We don't. I talk with Aaron more often, but me and Josiah, we became so close. I have a funny story about that because Culver's was the first restaurant we kind of like, oh my gosh, this is so good. Let's be here more often. And one day we decided we should go to the gym. I looked at him and said, yeah, we should, because I used to run with Jeff. This was the beginning of my journey as now I'm a triathlete. And the beginning was with Jeff, who also run marathon. He was like, Vinnie, you should run with me. And I started to run for real right here in Michigan.
Wow.
In the woods around here. It was really good because of the weather. And one day I say, yeah, Josiah, we should work out. And we went to Planet Fitness. We were there, and then I didn't have a credit card.
Okay.
And I couldn't sign up. They say, oh no, you can't do anything. And I look at Josiah and I say, yeah, we try. Let's go to Culver's. Yeah, we did exactly like that. Yeah, we tried. Let's go to Culver's.
So I know that you were trying to come back and do the IMA again, and you were never able to get back into the IMA.
Yeah.
You know, what is it about our internship program here, which, by the way, we still have.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And Preston, who was on the podcast last week, he runs our internship program.
Oh yeah.
Here at the church, we call it the IMA, which stands for Ignited Ministry Academy. And what would you say is it about the IMA that even made you want to come back and do it again, even though you weren't able to? You know, what did you love really about it?
Yeah, the thing is, I can see through, even though in Brazil we don't have a lot of stuff, like, because you guys have a huge structure, have a huge place, church, it is so good. But those things become normal if you come every single day. But I could see like through this, because it was a time for me, I wasn't sure about what I'm going to do with my life. I was kind of lost. I was kind of lost since 2 years ago, but that's not the point here.
Sorry.
That's not the subject. But I was kind of lost, and I was studying administration, business school back in Brazil. I was studying there, but I stopped, and I say, no, I want something. I want to see if there's something different. I want my mind to change, or see what God has for me. And then I came, and I could see through the things and the events. It's a time that you can spend and be focused on God, on like what do you have for me? Because we are doing things, we are doing like church here together, we are praying together, we are studying together, we are having fun together. But in the midst of all of that, I felt like I think I have found my way. I think this is what God wants me to do, and I discovered my purpose. Like, I'm a preacher. God called me to be a pastor. God called me to be a minister for the youth. God called me to be a better son, because I had to take care of myself here. I didn't have anyone to help me, so I had to be by myself, to like be responsible. And this was awesome for me. It was a huge pivotal moment in my life, and IMA was there to support me in that moment. If I can say that, it's a huge instrument that you guys have. And I was talking with you guys in we are around the table, and I was saying that I don't know why more people don't join you in this internship, because for me it was a game change moment.
It is, Pastor Aaron. And I agree with you, Vinnie, but it is a unique discipleship process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because it is not an hour and a half a week of coming to church.
Yeah.
It's full-time discipleship.
Yeah.
And that's when the real good stuff begins to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the real you started to show up, like,
Yeah.
because you start to struggle, your problems. Sometimes you didn't wake up well, but you have to be here.
You still got to come in and
Yeah.
take class and serve, and
Yeah.
there's going to be a pastor who's going to
Yeah.
ask you how you're doing and call you out when you're being lazy or maybe not putting your
Yeah.
best effort that day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Some of the days I felt like I don't know if I can say the pressure, but pressure is good.
Huh.
For me it was awesome, because sometimes if the ones listening, if you don't want to grow up, the best thing that can happen to you if you being put in a place of pressure, because then you can see what God already put inside of you and will be revealed. Because if you don't put pressure, you cannot see what God already gave it to you, or what He wants to give it to you, because the lack of it. Because I came here, I didn't have half of the courage I have now, but God was always pushing me and say, Vinnie, you do that. And after a while, I was saying yes to things that I don't know why I say yes to them. I have a story about that. Do you remember? For Momentum, we have like.
So Momentum used to be young adult. Young adult ministry.
I think it was for young adult.
Yeah.
And they had, it was a big thing in Brazil or in America, the bottle flip.
Yeah,
Okay.
the bottle flip.
You remember that story?
Yeah, I remember.
My legs still shaking, like, even to tell the story, because Pradipa say, the pastor, he was the pastor here.
Yeah.
And he asked me, hey, Vinnie, could you do something for us? And I was like so courageous after a while, like, okay, what I have to lose? Yes. And I say, okay, you are going to do the bottle like flip challenge. And I say, yeah, I can do that. But he say, you have to do a perfect one during the music. Turn down for what? And then I flip the bottle.
Yeah.
And then it happens, and I say, whoa, let's go, let's do it.
Okay.
And then I was behind the stage.
Yeah, that was time to do it. Yeah. People are sitting in their seats. Yeah.
Yeah. I was behind the stage, and I was practicing the whole day. I was the whole day like this. That day I didn't study.
Yes.
I was studying
Priorities.
bottle flip. Oh, and then I became the master. Like, okay. And I was doing with it was the Gatorade bottle. I went, okay, I got this. And then the music started, and then I entered, and you had to walk slow, and then when they turned up, and then you flipped the bottle, and I was like walking really slow, and my legs were shaking, and my hands were like sweating. But I was there. Yeah, I said yes to this. What is my problem? And it turned out for what? And then the bottle was like...
It didn't do it?
It didn't do it. And then I started to like try and didn't do it. Yes, I stuck like for 30 seconds trying to. And when it happens, the crowd was like, yeah. But I felt like, yeah. And this was after that. After that was one of those moments. I say, okay, thank God. I say yes. It was embarrassed for me. Yeah, I don't know how the other people, what other people thought about it. Like, oh, come on, this is so embarrassing. At that moment, I was like, I had to say yes. I have to live through the moments that I've been scared of, because I have to be ready. God sent me with a reason for here, and that's the story.
I like that.
Well,
you know what? We're running out. We're over time, Pastor.
We are over time. All right, never mind. I was gonna say, all right, real quick. One of the things that you do that's really courageous now is you were telling me about some of the trips that you take in Brazil, going to some of like the poorest areas in the entire country, doing ministry and preaching. So that probably takes a lot more courage than bottle flipping.
I don't know if we have time, but I have a story about that, because English is one of the, I think it's the most popular language all around the world. But if you think about being a missionary in Brazil, you have to learn a second language. Of course, you have to learn a language that it is the language so you can go to other places. But I was preaching in this place called Maranhão, which is the poorest state in Brazil. And the poorest state in Brazil, in that state, I was in one of those poorest cities in Brazil, which you can imagine is really poor.
Yeah.
And I went there with a mission trip. For the first time, I was organizing with some pastors, friend of mine, and we went there with a bunch of students. They went there just hungry for more. Hungry like, God, I want to learn something and give something. So we had 3 days for learning and 3 days to practice what we learned. It's kind of the IMA, but in 10 months, we give like 1 week.
Yeah.
So can you imagine the level of pressure you live? We had people sleeping on the floor during that day because we didn't have mattress. So I slept on the floor, but it wasn't good. So I had to find I don't know how you guys call.
Hammock?
Yeah, when you stuck the you can sleep on it. You stuck in both sides is like the
Yeah, hammock.
hammock.
Yeah.
It's a hammock, right? In Brazil, we used to sleep in hammocks. Hammocks, is that right?
Yeah.
We used to do that. But anyway, and then I was preaching. It was the third day. The third day. It was the last day. So the next day we're gonna send the missionaries. And God. And the presence of God was so real that night. It was so real. We were praying. It was so awesome, because I felt like, God, you want us to do something in this place. And then God said to me, okay, now you go there, take the mic. Of course, I'm not a random guy taking the mic. I was one of the pastors there. But he said, take the mic and you are going to speak in English. For those, I have a purpose and a call to be minister and to be missionaries all around the world. But you are only going to say this in English. And those who I translate, they will come, and then I will give it to him what I want. And I say, okay, can you imagine a bunch of students in Brazil? A lot of those students, they don't know Portuguese. They speak Portuguese like they don't know a perfect Portuguese, if I can say that. They can understand, of course. But I say, what?
Yeah.
Do I have to say this in English? And God said, yeah. Then I started to like Gideon and start to make like small tests. Okay, God, if you want me to say that, please do something right there that only I can see. And he did. Oh. And God, show me something right there that you can do that only I can. And he did. And I said, okay, there's no doubt anymore. I will take the mic. And I took the mic and I started to say, okay. And I say these words. And I say, God, if you want me, I say to those kids, if you understand that like simple like that, if you understand what I'm saying right now, I want you to come in here because God wants to give you something. And then a lot of those kids came.
Wow.
Like, right away. And I say, what?
Yeah.
And there's a girl who lives in Maranhão. I know that girl. She's like, she lives in that place. And she came like she understood what I said. And I was speaking in English. And she understood. She was, okay.
Wow.
And I said, okay, God, you want to do something here. And then I started to pray in English. And after that moment, they say, Vinnie, that prayer was for me. And I say, yeah, I pray in English. And they say, what? I understood everything you said. I say, that's God. That's what God wants. And that's one of the stories that I have from Maranhão.
It's amazing. I'm glad we gave you the time to share that story.
Yeah, hopefully you guys stuck around for that extra little 4 or 5 minutes. That was worth staying around for.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
you know, we're going to call this podcast, Pastor Aaron.
What are we going to call it?
Tell me if you think this is good. The significance of pressure.
Ooh, I like that. That's good.
And I must say, Vinnie doubted that these notes was going to produce a podcast. He doubted.
He did.
Yeah, at first I did. I told him I don't know what happened.
We don't know how we do it. We're amazed at ourselves too, man.
We don't know how we do it either, but we did it.
It's been great to be with you today, audience.
That's right. See you guys next time.
Next time.
Youth and Young Adult Podcast. Youth and Young Adult Podcast. Youth and Young Adult Podcast.